The president has already met with another strongman on his foreign trip, Turkey's Recep Tayyip Erdoğan. The two held a bilateral meeting after yesterday's NATO summit. Mr. Biden called the discussions positive and productive. Erdoğan labeled them fruitful and sincere. It's the first meeting between the two leaders since the president formally recognized Turkey's role in perpetuating the Armenian genocide. I want to bring in Ambassador James Jeffrey now, who joins us from Alexandria, Virginia. He worked as a top diplomat in several administrations, including as ambassador to Turkey and special presidential envoy for the global coalition to counter the Islamic State. He currently serves as chair of the Middle East program at the Wilson Center. Ambassador Jeffrey, welcome. It's great to have you with us. What are the present realities of the relationship between the U.S. and Turkey, and how has it changed since you served in Istanbul?
Thank you for having me on, Tanya. First and foremost, it's a transactional relationship. There's not a lot of love in either side. For President Biden to do the things he is committed to the American people and to our European and Middle Eastern partners to do in the world to maintain a global order, you need Turkey. It's too big, it's too powerful, it's militarily and economically strong, and its geographic position is critical. But Erdogan is a difficult partner. He and Biden share an interest in deterring and containing the threats we see in the region, Iran, Russia, terrorism. But on the working level, it has been steeply downhill since roughly 2013, 2014. Biden's mission is to try to fix this. Erdogan seems to be willing, at least in tone, to go halfway. We'll see what comes out of this meeting. It was a good first step, though.
Right. And President Biden characterized his meeting with President Erdogan as, quote, positive and productive, though he did decline to expand on specifics. What specifically do both sides want and need from one another right now?
First of all, they have many interests in Syria. Most, but not all, coincide. Stopping Russian, Iranian, and Assad regime efforts to take over the whole country. But we also have a sensitive situation in the Northeast where we have troops allied with local Kurds who Turkey sees as enemies, so we have to work that carefully. Also, Ukraine. Turkey is a great supporter of Ukraine against Russia. Afghanistan, Turkey is interested in keeping forces on to protect, for example, the airport. That's also an American interest. So there are some very positive parts of the relationship, but there are still some longstanding disagreements, and none of those were fixed yesterday.
Can you, elaborate a little bit more on those long-standing disagreements? Because Sure. It seems to me that the two countries are just going to have to learn to live with those disagreements. Is that correct?
Tanya, that's been my recommendation, but judging from the readouts I got from the Turkish side, that's not how President Erdogan sees it, and possibly not President Biden. One is the Turkish purchase of Russian air defense missiles, the S-400. This has led to the loss of the F-35 program for Turkey, a big military loss, and considerable friction, and also congressionally mandated sanctions against the Turkish government. That's a real problem. The Turks, as I said, are very concerned about our alliance with a local Kurdish force, the Syrian Defense Forces in northeast Syria. That's not going to change as long as we have troops in Syria, and Biden is committed to keeping them on, at least for the moment. So we're not going to fix these problems. The recommendation of many is to set them to one side. I think that they probably took a step in that direction yesterday. But we have to see when we learn more about what in the weeks ahead President Biden means by progress. I'm certainly encouraged by the use of that word.
Absolutely. And I also want to ask you about President Biden's meeting with Russian President Putin tomorrow. What does the president need to get out of those discussions with the Russian leader, specifically with regards to Syria? And, how closely will Turkey be watching these discussions as well? Where does Turkey fit into the U.S.-Russian-Turkey axis?
Turkey fits in many ways, from Nagorno-Karabakh in the Caucasus region all the way to Libya. Turkey is opposing Russian actions, but also watching carefully what the U.S. position is. On Syria, President Biden wants the Russians to agree to renew a humanitarian crossing that 3 million Syrians are dependent upon right across the border from Turkey. And Turkey also needs that crossing so that these refugees do not cross the border into Turkey, which already has 3 million. So it's a complicated situation there. That's one thing Biden will press Putin for. But from my own experiences with Putin, the most important thing the president can do is to earn or re-earn Putin's respect. Putin will deal with somebody who does not try to lecture him, does not try to raise issues that Putin is not interested in, but wants to get to specific concerns and specific issues such as the Syria crossing. I think that Biden may have some success there. It all depends on what he's willing to put on the table.
It's interesting how many experts, such as yourself, bring up the word respect when discussing the way they think President Biden should approach President Putin. Is this a crucial element for the Russian leader?
Sure. Putin understands and cannot understand why Americans cannot understand that he has a totally different vision of what an international order should be and what international behavior should be than we, the Americans, have. If he runs into an American who is willing to accept that and say, we disagree with your long-term ambitions, we're going to try to block them, which is exactly what we did for 40 years with the Soviets, he will at least respect us. If we operate on the assumption that if we just find some secret sauce, Putin will change his spots and become like Angela Merkel or Boris Johnson in London, and basically dance to the tune we play for an international order. First of all, he won't do that. Secondly, he'll wonder why we're so stupid to assume that. Biden is smart. I don't think he assumes that, but many Americans do.
Yes, Putin does not strike me as in danger of changing his spots anytime soon. Well, Ambassador Jim Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us. We so appreciate your insight.
Thank you for having me on.